Wow. Yes. That is super intense, Travis.
Yes, yes, it
So
is.
how, with all that you have said about the fluctuation of the weight and all of the cramping, going to kidney dialysis a few times a week, how does your team care for you? Like, are they compassionate? Are they empathetic? Are they, how, especially during the pandemic, have you
Yes.
seen a difference between your care prior to the pandemic and now?
You know what, Dr. Davis, it has been absolutely amazing. I have been truly blessed with the most incredible team of health professionals. I could not have asked for any of those people better. From my kidney doctor, Dr. Patel, to the podiatrist, Dr. Kim, for my feet, from Dr. Reyes, who's my vascular surgeon, to Dr. Chemnitz, who is my primary care, and then the incredible staff at the dialysis center has been, it's just been wonderful. I would not been able to have done this journey without them, I don't think. And they have been there 100%, being extremely supportive. In fact, they harass me all the time. To give you an idea, I came into the center on Saturday, and I'm usually full of bubbly, good morning to everyone, smiling all the time. And I came in, and Jojo, one of the head nurses, opened the door and he said, "Good morning, sir, how are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing okay." He asked me again, and I said, "Okay." And then he turned around and hit me with a pillow and said, "I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, but you better get out of it. That's not you." And I had to think for a moment, and I was like, even on the days when I am sick, I'm usually still bubbly. And that's one of the very few times I've ever, and I don't want to say the word down, I just didn't have as much energy. And I'm not really sure what that was all about, but they immediately noticed, and they immediately rallied around and tried to do everything possible to get me back in that space. And it really meant a lot, because then I knew 100%, if I didn't know before, that they care about me more than just as being a patient. I have really developed personal relationships with 25 members of that staff. And I've been invited out to their homes, to parties, to anniversaries. And it's been very wonderful, because they don't do that to all their patients. One of the things that really keeps me going is not only my determination, but the fact that these health professionals, whether it's at the hospital for appointments or going to the center for treatment, have really reinforced in telling me that they see the strength in me and the light at the tunnel, and they don't see that with a lot of dialysis patients. I've been told numerous times, as especially when I was going through the first process to get on the transplant list, that's not easy to get on. I was really ignorant to the fact until having gone through the process. They take you through a boot camp, physically and mentally. And it's really interesting that everyone that's in my position does not get granted to go forward to be put on a transplant list, nor do they even have the option. They don't even have an option, because sometimes your body will do things that will stop it. For instance, if you have extreme high blood pressure and develop blood clots, you're immediately canceled out. because the clogs will not allow the possibility of having a safe operation process and recovery. If you have a small stroke or heart attack, you're removed. Anything that would hinder the possibility of that organ being placed in your body and not having 120% ability to have recovery, you will not be given that opportunity.
Mhm.
That organ will go to someone else that they feel has a better chance of survival. So there's a lot of mental aspects that you have to go through as well as physical. I just, once again, thank God that I am in the best mental state possible. And I have, like I said before, the most incredible team I could not ever ask for. And even at the Med Center, where I will be having my transplant, I have met some of the team members that will be on my team, and I tell you, they are absolutely amazing. And I cannot wait to go through the process. I told them the day that we actually do it, I'm going to get off of that table and do some cartwheels and back flips when it's over with. And I can't do no back flips, but I'm sure going to do one that day. And praise God and say I'm going to be here because it's going to work out. And I know it.
I'm sure that it will. I know that it will. Okay, so you are on the transplant list, and thankfully you're staying there because you are going through with your treatment and you are abiding by the treatment plan as your healthcare providers have laid it out for you. So let's get to COVID.
Yes.
So one of the things that I try to impress upon people is that although the last 18 months, we've been talking a lot about coronavirus and COVID-19 and deaths and mortality, but before the pandemic, there were, as you mentioned, patients and people who have diabetes, and which means you have a lot to do. Your healthcare team has a lot to do as well for you. So with COVID coming onto the scene, how did that impact your care? And were you hesitant about getting the vaccine?
Okay, so let's see what I want to start at. Let's start with the fact that when the pandemic arrived and the country was accepting of what was happening based on the number of people we saw in the media leaving and passing, it immediately affected me tremendously because I was not able to continue the testing journey, which is a process that you have to do in stages several times in order to get the final sign off, which says it's a go. When that happens, there's a short period time window where they're looking at when could the transplant actually take place. They have to find you the organ. If you already have a donor, that person has to go through the process. And then there's a series of tests and exercises that have to be done up until the day of surgery to ensure the success of you receiving that organ. Because of the pandemic, that all came to a halt. Those who were experiencing what is happening currently right now took precedent first, and they should. That meant unless I was having a severe problem, I was not going to be seen, or those processes were not going to continue to happen. For example, I had to take oh my God, excuse me, I just forgot the technical name of the test. It's not coming to me, so I'm going to describe it. It's like going into a CAT scan chamber where you're laying flat and they're taking all the vital signs of your body. I have never developed a phobia, never. Somehow, this particular day, when I went to lay down and was placed in it, I had an anxiety attack. That was not good. When you go into this chamber, you're in there for 45 minutes to an hour. I wasn't even in there 5 minutes. And I was kicking and screaming, trying to crawl out of it. I'm strapped in. I broke one of the straps. When they started to remove me, I literally almost broke one of the bench tables, and it took 6 staff members to come in there, give me a sedative shot immediately and calm me down. After that, I was sent home. The doctor prescribed me some medication, and 3 days later, I was to come back. And of course, because of the pandemic, that did not take place because the increase of patients that were coming into the hospital that need treatment and were passing away increased from probably a 3% to a 25 to 40% in less than those 2 weeks. But within those 2 days, it was like times 15 people were coming in. It was unbelievable. So it put a hold on me being able to go forward and getting and receiving more of that testing process for them to do better evaluations for preparation. That same exam that I was telling you that I still, the technical name hasn't came back to me, and I apologize. I am scheduled to take that test December 23rd of this year. I had that incident March of this year. So that whole entire time, I have not been able to get an appointment. For some reason or another, if I miss this appointment, I will not be able to take that exam until May of 2022. And the reason for that is that they have lost, I believe they told me 65% of the technicians and certification nurses, who administered that exam no longer are working because they have been laid off or they have quit because of the vaccination requirements. Getting to that second part of your question regarding the vaccine, when the pandemic first came out, I immediately said, I'm not taking it. I'm not doing it because of the lack of information that was being provided to us regarding this pandemic. You know, when our last president went through that change or whatever it was that he went through, I was very angry because there are several individuals in this country who do not have the same economic, expenditures as I do. And it's even a challenge for me. And I felt like information was not being provided to us. People were not very honest about the situation that we were in, and it just showed up. So the first thing I said was the only way that I would ever take any vaccinations if our current president, vice president, Dr. Fauci would take this vaccination, and I would wait about a month and a half to 2 months to see what would happen to them, I would consider it. And that's where I was. Once I saw that, I then had to go to my faith and say, don't allow me to be stubborn. Allow me to think smart. What do I need to do to continue this healthy path towards this transplant that I need to do to save my life and to be in the best condition is if that organ is presented to me that they won't pass me over. And it was really hard. But after really analyzing that, I needed to do it because I'm compromised more than the average person. My immune system is cleaned 3 times a week. And in some type cases where they have extra fluid on my lungs, I have to do a 4th day. And I had to do that for anywhere from 3 to 5 months. So after weighing all of that, I decided it was the time to go. And the facility provided all the patients that wanted it, and when they convinced all of us, we took it. And I have to tell you, after speaking with a lot of the older patients that are there, they are all pulling for me because not one of them out of the first 42 that are on my shift period, they come in either an hour before or an hour late. None of them will ever be in the position that I would be in. They will have to continue those treatments for the rest of their life. And I have seen since 2017 up until this Saturday, 22 people pass away that are no longer there. I'm thinking they're on vacation, visiting family, and come to found out that they have passed away. And it's unfortunate because they will never have an opportunity but to have this choreographic lifestyle. And some of those individuals come there more than I do. There's patients who are there 7 days a week, 4 hours a day, and will be there for the rest of their life. There are people that come 5 days a week, 2 hours. There are some that do it at home. It just varies. But I couldn't imagine what this would be like for the rest of my life and not having an opportunity to do it. With God willing, I won't have to continue this, but there are others who will never know because this will be their life until the day that they leave this earth. So the answer to your question with the pandemic is this: for those that are in a position to accept the vaccination, to perhaps save not only your life, but those that you love, I would strongly recommend that you do. I know that we live in a country where we can make a decision based on religion beliefs and how we feel, but we really need to look at the real big picture. Your child does not know or cannot speak up and say anything. So those who are parents need to really take the responsibility of not being selfish and look at what is needed to save your child. God forbid that anything happens to your child. But if you or your child was inflicted, I'm sure you would have a different thought process. And I just want to take a moment to address the African American community in particular. And I want to say this without offending anyone who believes in Christ, because I grew up in the church in my family too. But our community sometimes do not want to accept some of the science aspects of what is taking place. We don't want to do what is necessary in terms of changing our diets and lifestyles. We are in a position where we really don't have option. And I just want to say to everyone, but especially our people, please take a moment to get the information that is needed to make the best decision for you and your family's health. because you may not have that opportunity tomorrow. Please sit with your loved ones and do what is best for you and your family.